Welcome to the session on Agentic AI. I'm Sanjeev Siodia, CTO at Manhattan Associates. For the last 40 years, software has followed our rules. It did exactly what we coded it to do, right? Nothing more, nothing less.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yes. Well, it did what we coded it to do. Now, Agentic AI breaks that rule, right? It reasons, it plans, and it executes in that gray area, right, where hard-coded logic fails. We are moving from programmed retail to autonomous retail. But what does a shift look like for a global brand? To help me unpack this, I have an incredible panel. I want to thank you all for joining me here. And I've asked each of you to introduce yourselves with answering one icebreaker. So I'm going to throw that out to you. So what is that one task in your daily life you wish you could hand off to an AI agent right now? I'll start with Karen Beebe, CTO at Bells Inc. They operate over 650 stores under the brand name of Bells Inc., Bells Florida, HomeCentric. So what task are you giving the agent?
Okay, I'm going to talk from a work perspective.
All right.
The task that I wish would happen, because I've been trying it with Copilot and I'm not that successful yet, is for all of my emails to be read, processed, and actually any follow-up meeting that needs to be scheduled gets scheduled, and I don't even have to think about the attendees that need to be there. That would be an amazing thing to have right now.
I want that too.
All right. Next is Dave Stevens, CTO at Group Dynamite. They operate 300 stores across the US and Canada under the brand name of Garage and Dynamite. And they're constantly pushing the envelope on retail tech. Dave, what's your pick?
I knew this question was coming and I didn't prep. So I want that to be, and I should have prepped. I just got in late. Yeah. You know what? It's funny because what I will say is that we're using AI a lot in the day-to-day operations, and it's been a bit of a battle to get the business users to do it. So I would say, there's really nothing. I mean, outside of if it could travel between Toronto and Montreal for me every week, that would be fantastic. We're a Google shop, and we're using Gmail. And what I really like about that AI is how they've embedded it into the daily tasks, whether it be email, whether it's creating a presentation to our owner, whether it's financial stuff. We're using it a lot, and I've been really impressed with how much the business has embraced it, and I think that's what we're doing every single day.
All right. Eduardo. Eduardo is field CTO at Shopify. You guys see the pulse of merchants globally, right? So what's on your wish list?
That's a great question, and kind of along the lines of Dave, I wanted to my answer be less rehearsed, if you will. What the moment would inspire me to say, but very much like you're saying, Sanjeev, I get to work with the largest customers that Shopify has, and Shopify has some 3 million merchants on our platform at the moment. I get to do a lot of presentations. I get to, as a former CTO on the brand side, I talk to brands, like Dave's, like Karen's, as to what does it take to be on Shopify. So I use slides a lot. Also a Google Shop, so slides is my second language. I wish AI were better at giving it an idea, a value proposition, and just creating a deck exactly the way that I do after, 20 years of consulting.
I mean, I love those answers, right? There's a theme there. All you guys want some sort of an outcome out of Agentic AI, right? And I think this is the core definition of Agentic AI, right? It is a system that, given an objective, can, what I sometimes call the things you do loop, can go execute that objective and achieve an outcome, right? So let's talk about why is Agentic AI so appealing, right? So I'll start with you, Dave, right? At Group Dynamite, right, speed is everything. You've already built a unified commerce platform with us. So when you look at Agentic AI, is the appeal simply doing things faster? Or is it about doing things that are currently just too complex for humans to handle?
It's a good question. There's been a lot of talk about, AI taking jobs and people losing their jobs and that panic. And it's not so much that it's going to replace tasks. It's to your second point. It's the complex tasks that we're able to do with AI. We have an in-house AI team, a brilliant AI team, and we talked a bit about it on our walk over here, but things like demand planning and personalization and things that need to be done very quickly to improve that customer experience, whether that customer be someone who purchases our clothes, or we also consider a customer in IT to be the employees of the organization. Just allow them to do those complex tasks really quick. But I will say that the take we've put on AI is, which has come directly from our founder and our owner, is let's focus on the AI ideas that are going to improve the customer experience and drive revenue, as opposed to the significant change management that goes into the cost savings or the automation of tasks. And that's been really refreshing to hear from our CEO and our owner, is because he goes, listen, I want tenfold ideas to boost revenue, to boost customer experience, and we'll worry about the automation when it comes. Because when you build those ideas for revenue or for customer experience, it comes automated out of the box, right? And so it's really exciting to work when, from the top down, the person who founded our company and runs it is talking that way.
So you want to grow the top line, and the bottom line will automatically come, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just, it makes it a lot easier. Listen, I think everybody in this room will agree, and especially my team, as they glare at me like they're going to slap me or something. See, they're already laughing at me. Change management is hard, right? That's the hardest part of any major transformation. I've done a bunch of digital transformations in my career. Yes, I'm really old, but it's hard. And very often when these big transformations, leveraging new technologies, go off the rails, it's not because the technology fails, it's because the change fails. And humans are hard to change. So having that talk with our owner and him saying, hey, listen, focus on those ideas is really easy, is much easier than trying to do the change management.
Karen, you want to add something?
I definitely want to just add on to that, because very much so from, we are family owned and we have AI for everyone. So this is not about, technologies leading AI. It is about everyone embracing AI and then figuring out where do we have the most impactful things. And I agree with you regarding where do we go after that impactful thing that then, so for planning or the Monday morning craziness in retail, how do you package that into a way that AI and agentic AI is helping us make the decisions so that we can move with speed. Yeah. And so that's really, and while you're doing it, you're going to find ways where you're going to automate it. So we're doing agents where they're doing data loads. Then the agents are analyzing the plans. Then the agents are also making those recommendations. Yeah. And so from there, you're going to find a lot where it's going to just start to change the way you work.
It really is a cultural shift, right, of the entire organization. And I loved your point where you're, not necessarily technologies leading the way. You need the business engagement. Again, I'm very lucky that I have a very strong team on IT, but, they can only do so much. And I know they're all using it because they won't have a job if they don't. But it's a joke. The look I got. But no, it's really changing the culture of the business, and that's what we're really trying to do. And we're doing that just through a lot of, hackathons with leveraging AI and doing them internally. And I've been really impressed over the past, several weeks where they're really the business user, not an IT user, someone in design or someone in e-com or someone somewhere else is actually, using AI to come up with that idea and present it back to the execs.
Yeah. Karen, I'll say my next question to you. So, retail is messy, right? Exception happens every minute, right? And traditional software, as I was saying, right, follows hard rules. So is this excitement around agentic AI from your perspective, right, is about handling this messiness, right, the gray areas? Can you talk about how do you go out of this hard-coded logic?
Yes. So we are a 111-year-old company this year, going into this year. 111 years in retail, which is pretty exciting, right? That needs a round of applause on that one. Thank you. And with that, guess what? I have a lot of very traditional legacy systems, and they do not change very easily. And so how do you start to keep going, moving forward, leveraging tool sets, but also you have these legacy systems that you have to keep running until you can replace those or modernize. And so when you think about how AI could then start to really take on those changes, the dynamic changes, especially with agentic AI.
Yeah.
And I think just being able to, it's not like you have to have a playbook that you look at a playbook, but then agentic AI is helping you make some decisions based on those changes and those anomalies or those exceptions, and then it can keep rewriting it for you instead of you having to do it yourself each time. Yeah. And so it's from the dynamic standpoint of just really think about weather changes, think about supply chain, think about just all of those things could be dynamic in the decision making that we're doing. We're doing it somewhat, but I think there's even a faster way to do it.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it being messy, but everybody you talk to, and this is sort of the task that we've taken, is get your data straight first. It's garbage in, garbage out, right? I mean, you talk about all the legacy systems, and believe me, I can sympathize with that. Yeah, oh God, jeez. Some that shouldn't be legacy that are legacy. That's what we were just talking about. But the point being is you got to get your data right. You got to get your data governed. You got to get it accurate, because if you're putting garbage in, it doesn't matter how good your AI, it's going to be garbage coming back out.
Yeah. All right, Eduardo, I want to bring you into this conversation, right? So Shopify, you see everybody from garage startups to global giants, right? So do you see agentic AI as a great equalizer?
Oh, for sure. We like to talk that is the great multiplier of human ambition. At Shopify, we say that we try to make commerce better for everyone, right? Again, from the entrepreneur in his or her garage or kitchen, coming up with an idea and starting a business, all the way to Fortune 50 companies. And if I can go back to your point about how are we looking at AI, right? We just go back to our mission. So how can we build AI capabilities as part of our platform, not bolt on, not, you can tell that we're part of an acquisition, or not putting the integration efforts on the merchant that is working to get their products out there, to service their customers, to have an amazing customer experience. So we simplify that technology so they don't have to worry about trust, security, integrations, which version of which LLM should I be using. That should be transparent. That's how we think about it.
Yeah. Do you think it makes the smaller brands give the same power as the Fortune 500?
Well, relatively speaking, yes. So the version within the Shopify admin, some of you may know, we have an AI assistant called Psychic. I don't know if you know the story as to why it's called Psychic. We think of every entrepreneur as a superhero, and every superhero needs a psychic. Every Batman needs a Robin, and so on and so forth. That version of Psychic is not different for Bills or Dynamite than for you or me, right? It's the same version that anybody can use. It's powered by the same base large language model. It's understanding the data from your store. It's able to apply business rules and logic, all the way to, we recently, for example, as part of our latest release, we announced that we're going to have synthetic AI-generated users. So the times of having to run a big, complex A/B testing campaign just to see which promotion was going to perform better or whatnot. Now I can release 1,000 AI fake customers. By the way, customers that are modeled based on your store's activity, right? Not totally artificial. And know the results without affecting my store performance, without having to wait months until I achieve statistical significance. That's the kind of power that we're giving every merchant. Again, not just a few privileged ones that have large IT teams, like the ones that we manage or used to manage.
Sure. I'll come back to you, Dave. So,
I'm sorry. You don't know how many times someone has said that to me.
Just talking about urgency a little bit, right? What do you think in terms of urgency? do you think retailers should sit this out for a year and see how this pans out, or do you think there is a risk of obsolescence if we don't really act now?
Show of hands. How many people think here that you should wait a year before trying anything with AI? Yeah, we all know we got to get moving. Even if it is a small pilot, a little thing, a partnership with a software company that has a good idea for you, implementing Shopify, take your pick. Do something. I had the privilege of facilitating a panel of CMOs at CES last week. Large companies, right? Fortune 50 companies. And the number one thing, actually number one was change management, by the way, but the number two thing was how can they get started now? Because they see that if they don't, they're just gonna get eaten alive. There's no two ways about it.
Okay, show of hands. How many are at least using AI right now?
While the speech is going on.
Nice.
Looking at your phone and using it.
Yeah.
So, Dave, you're going to add something.
No, I mean, I think exactly what Eduardo was talking about is that business user-friendly device, that the ability, you're really democratizing technology through AI, right? And the fact that Shopify is going down that road, I think that's a significant shift, that you don't have to understand code to be able to build something anymore. And so, it's going to change the game completely. I think it's going to change the SaaS industry completely. I think, we've talked about what you guys are doing and obviously what Shopify is doing, but there's going to be a lot of SaaS companies that are going to go belly up.
For sure.
They're not going to be able, they're not going to be able to grip, and whether it's the product designer or the marketing person who doesn't have a tech background, they're going to be able to build this stuff really quickly. And what we sort of build in our onboarding strategy when we bring people into Group Dynamite, which we're hiring, by the way, if anybody's interested. I was told by HR I had to get that out there during this talk. But we actually really stress prompt engineering. Learn how to prompt engineer and put all your effort there, because you're going to be just as capable as someone who's really strong at tech with the existing AI agents that are currently out there.
Yeah, I made a statement sometime back, like English is your new coding language.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer Java. You don't have to know Java or any other language. English is your coding language, right? So I'll stay with you. You talked about customer experience and top line, right? I know for Group Dynamite, it's not just the transaction, right? It's the brand connection.
Yeah.
So how do you see agents really reshaping that experience? What are you guys thinking of on the customer experience side?
Yeah, customer centricity is a core corporate value of our 5 corporate values. And, I've been in this industry for a while on both sides of technology and on marketing and e-com and strategy. And you hear it a lot. Oh, we're customer centric. We're customer centric. There's a lot of companies that are not customer centric.
Yes.
We everything we do, and like I said, my team can attest to it, is customer centric. I think the customer experience is the other big shift, right? I talked about, the SaaS industry. I think how customers discover, your announcement yesterday is, fantastic with Gemini, how people are discovering the product, and then how are they actually going to buy? I think, the browsing experience is going to go away. Maybe not completely, but it's going to be significantly reduced, whereas, whether it's chatting or voice or just movement, you're going to be able to get what you need very, very quickly, automatically. And you're even seeing it early on in the stats. When you look at some of the referrals from our site, it was Google search or it was Bing search, but now it's ChatGPT, it's Gemini, it's Perplexity, it's all these AI engines. And if you go down a deeper level, it's where are they getting that content from? Like, does anybody know the biggest referrer for AI agents? Yeah, it's Reddit, right? It's user-generated content. The authenticity that goes into user-generated content, and we're doing a lot around social, and is really driving those referrals. And so it's not only changing the discovery; it's changing how companies are going to go. SEO will never go away, but you're changing your SEO strategy completely with AI. Like, where should I put my content? Where should I put my product? Who should I integrate with? Is it Gemini? Is it ChatGPT? Is it Perplexity? Is it all of them? It's really changing, and the customer is going to benefit from it, because they're no longer going to have to browse 100 dresses to get the one they want. They're literally going to say, I have a party tonight. I want to look like this, and I want to do that, and the dress is going to pop up. And if you search garage, you help put my daughter through medical school. So please do that.
Yeah, I think some of the time we'll also figure out between shopping and buying, right? Sometimes I used to say this, that e-commerce was designed by men.
Wow, that was, I don't know how to react to that.
It was just, yeah.
It was not a compliment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I know it wasn't.
It was meant to just kind of buy something. And sometimes there is a pleasure in shopping. So as we think about experiences, we'll have to think about how do you bring that pleasure of shopping into this experience, right? It's not always about just doing a task. So I hope people don't forget as we kind of redo this experience part on how do we kind of think about how do we bring that pleasure of shopping, right?
Agree 100%, yeah.
There are a lot of, I see my wife and there are 16 browser tabs open with just trying to find something which I don't know if she knows what she's buying, but.
Well, and I think it also goes with age. Like when our customer, who's the garage customer, is 24 years old, they're much more community focused than the 34-year-old in our Dynamite brand, right? And it's almost like a group shopping, and that's why our stores are so popular, is because it's an outing to go to the mall, and it's that social. So like, how does AI help that, right? Like, it goes back to that community. When Reddit, one of the largest communities online, is producing these recommendations, what does that say about your customer and that experience she's having with friends?
Yeah. Let's go to back office a little bit, Karen. You talked about efficiencies and how can you improve back office. What are you guys thinking of in terms of planning, allocation, other systems? What's behind that experience?
Yeah, so right now we are focused on that whole Monday morning process, that Monday morning craziness, and trying to get it to a place where we have some agents working with us on putting together ways that it serves up recommendations. And then still with the human in the loop, looking at where can we then make those recommendations and take action on them, and then measuring it and making sure that it's actually delivering where we need it to be. And we're in our journey with that. We just really started down the process, and we're learning. And it takes time, because we outfit the family for less. We are apparel, accessory, and home. And so and we also move very quickly. So we're not like a traditional retailer. And so it's more that off-price, quick, move quickly. And so it's learning. It's still learning.
Yeah.
But it's about trying to make that whole process a way that you can, frankly, have answers by Monday morning at 9 a.m. and actually get it to a place where you can start to really trust what's going on, and that it can flow through the supply chain.
Yeah, perfect. I think if you think about some killer apps, the supply chain orchestration seems like one of those where it can find the problems and fix it before you even know the problem existed. So maybe you have an idea on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it goes back to that, getting that data, and we spent a lot of effort and time, and again, it goes back to the credit of the team to get the data right. And some of the stuff we're even doing with your OMS and building rules outside of that is part of our secret sauce with Manhattan Active Omni and the data we're using in and out of that, and the AI in how we fulfill orders. And so, the back office stuff is very important. We have built an AI engine that does demand planning. We have built an AI engine that does personalization. But it really is going back to that concept of getting the data straight to avoid that messiness and make it happen easier and quicker. And listen, it was a long road for us. I mean, I've been with Group Dynamite for 4 years, and I think probably just this past year is where we really started to see progress, because it took us that long to get all our data sorted, governed, accurate, and centralized, and be able to run the AI off of it.
Okay. Eduardo, do you have a killer app in mind, like 2-3 years out, like the Black Magic?
If I did, I wouldn't be here. I'd be like building it and trying to sell it.
You're going to say Shopify, but I didn't know.
Yeah, no, that's Toby's killer app. To me, the killer app is the app that is going to make you all, our customers, our merchants, successful, right? For some people, they can go now into Shopify and edit images or create product descriptions or assign the right tags and metadata to in your catalog straight out, without having to be an IT person, without having to be too technical. Psychic can vibe code, right? You can describe in plain English the application that you need. And by the way, with the right access controls and security, audit and logging capabilities, but you don't need to submit a Jira ticket to an already overworked IT team to come up with an app. You can do it yourself. That's kind of the killer app that we're thinking about. So back to the point that Dave was making and being this great democratizer, right, of capabilities. That's how we see AI.
Yeah, it's great to hear Shopify talk like that, and I know you guys have talked like that. That is the game changer, and I know it sounds simple, but it's the ability to build apps with, to your last point, which is the new programming language is English.
Yeah,
that's a game changer. You'd be surprised how the companies that can embrace that and the business users that can embrace that. I need this right away. It's just really small. They go in, chat prompt it, codes it, and it's live. And building that whole DevOps process, that is going to be the difference between the companies that are on rocket ships and the companies that are sinking.
okay. So
So
let's
piggybacking on what Dave was saying. Sorry, Karen. We're chatting with a very, very large retailer later this week, and the conversation is going to be all about how do we give the in-store employees this superpower, this ability to do, hyper-personalization, right? With all the knowledge, all this AI-driven knowledge that they have at their hands, but still retaining that personal connection and interaction, the customer experience that you're both talking about. That when we can achieve that, we will have unlocked tremendous value and power.
Karen, you had something to add?
Just on everything that this is doing, it's about amplifying a person. It's not about AI taking over, or it's about how do you amplify what you're doing and really getting the value.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about a risk, right? We're giving software the keys to the car. Right. If a chatbot hallucinated, it could write a bad email. Now, if an agentic AI hallucinated, it could ship 5,000 products free. So there's a reasonable amount of risk here, right? So when you think about governance, Karen, I'll pose this to you, right? How do you put those guardrails in place where you don't kind of like kill the innovation?
So there's goes back to one is data. We have to have data. And data, we don't have it all figured out. We're like, he sounds like he's got it all figured out. So we're going to be talking a little bit more.
Of course I do. That's what I'm saying at my next review with our owner. So don't worry about it.
There is so much from just getting the data right and then getting the verification of that data and the accuracy of the data. And how do you put those measurements in place in all you do, right? So there's that piece of it. And so you do have to have a framework and you have to have that governance in your policies and, all of the pieces in place as you're moving forward with starting to really use the tools. And so I don't know if I have this exact perfect answer to tell you, because we're still we are out investigating and looking at how do I ensure that we have the right data bubbling up that's giving the right, the correct recommendations, that's not going rogue. So how do you keep the human in the loop at the right place?
Yes.
Right? But doesn't slow you down.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Dave, you kind of touched upon this a little bit, right? In terms of we can go build the tech, right? But how do you trust the machine, right, to make these decisions?
Yeah, I think there's two. I think there's two pieces there, right? There's the democratization of the technology and making sure you have a good DevOps process that not just everybody can push something to production. It has to go through some gateways and before it goes live. And then how can you trust the logic? And again, it goes back to what Karen was saying. Your data accuracy. You should have some trust in that it's going through the necessary channels. And then I think it's also understanding the AI you're using as a business user. That's where the technology team needs to come in. Is governing the data and making sure that the AI algorithms you're using are checked and cleaned and ready to go. But that's sort of separate than just the DevOps process, because once you have that set, then your business user can start launching stuff to production.
So one thing, merchant and planners, they like to have control and they go a lot by their gut feels, like what they feel like in the gut. So and you mentioned about change management, right?
Yeah.
How do you handle that cultural shift where you start trusting a machine to make those decisions?
Listen, yeah. So I've also worked in insurance where, I don't know if anybody here is in insurance, so I'm going to speak I won't speak kindly. Actuaries feel they know the world, right? Because they go through this process, they're able to predict mortality, which is pretty powerful. But when it comes to, it's funny that you mentioned demand planners because we're going through this right now with our demand planners, and it's, we came up with this idea, listen, we're going to automate the whole process. And the look on their faces was just like, not on your effing life are you going to do that. So it is a bit of education to be able to trust the data, and rightfully so, right? Because these are sometimes complex algorithms, how we're getting product into store and how we're ordering product. But it is just a lot of education and proof of concepts that the team's building and saying, listen, we'll just take a little chunk of it, see how it works. And sort of where we're landing on that is, ultimately, there'll be a go or no-go decision by a human during that demand. The AI will do all the complex demand planning and allocation, and then it will come across a dashboard, and it will be almost like a workflow where the human will say yay or nay. And I think that sort of eases them into that process to eventually say, okay, well, I don't even need the dashboard anymore. It's making all the right decisions.
And that's the same approach that we take with Psychic. When you ask Psychic, for example, to create a customer segment and to create a promotion through your back office, right? Psychic, we won't just go and execute and start putting products on sale. It'll give you what it's doing and why it's doing it, and you get a button to say, okay, go ahead, do it. No DevOps involved, sorry.
That's okay.
But back to the human in the loop concept that you're talking about. So have that ability, so you don't have to deal with the change management issues that come with changing human behavior.
Agreed.
Okay. So I'll wrap this up by asking one question to all of you. If you had to give one piece of advice to every retailer in the room, what would it be? So let's start with Dave. You.
So depending on who's in the room, whether it's business or like prompt engineering, just understand the nuances of prompts. And the good news is it's free, whether it's Google, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Perplexity, just play with it. If you can prompt engineer, if you can code in the new language, which I love that is English, then that's something any business user in this room, just learn everything you can about prompt engineering for the short term.
Start. Pick a use case that makes sense for your business. Start. If you haven't started, many of you have already. If you haven't, do it. Don't delay it.
Mine is partner and learn from each other. Because right now, we're all going through this together. There is not, I don't know that there's only a handful that seem to really, really understand the depth and details. And so partner with each other. The person sitting next to you right now is probably someone that you can be learning from, and partner with your vendors, because this is something we're going to go through together.
I feel like we should hug.
That is beautiful. So thank you guys. Right. Thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you.
My key takeaways are start now, right? Get your data in place and learn from your partners.
Fantastic. Thanks, everyone.